All right, we can go ahead and get started. Kitty, good to see you. Yes, it's a wonderful day. How's everyone today? I'm doing great. Just fed the boys, took them outside. That's the reason why I'm starting at 12:36 instead of 12:30. Had to take them outside and make sure they were good. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It's time to react to some more Warhammer 40k stuff. So let's go ahead and get this started a little bit, shall we? Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and I'm starting off without even having my headphones on. Hold on. Thank the Lord for wireless headphones, yes, but yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to me reacting to some more Warhammer 40k stuff. Now, this specific video, Bricky made, I want to say, about 11 months ago, almost a year ago, talking about the timeline of 40k in and of itself. Now, while the other videos that I reacted to, such as the factions and the Space Marine Legions video, were the first ones I did, I probably should have done this one first, but then again, I really haven't explored a lot of what Bricky does, so well, now we're taking this opportunity so I can actually look at it. So let me go ahead and get this going. Let me get chat up so I can see you guys off to the side. Yo, what's going on? 35 subject. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All good, doggies need attention first. Yep, and I also needed to remind Denim that our side of the lawn is the only place that he's supposed to be going. Doesn't matter if our neighbor is walking outside, you stay on our side of the lawn. I didn't teach him and instruct him as much as I have for him to be all disobedient and rebellious, but he's trying to test the waters. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to test the waters. But yes, welcome everyone. If I got any newcomers to the channel, just letting you know offhand, this is just stuff that I'm reacting to. I don't consider myself a Warhammer veteran by any means, or a Warhammer buff. I am literally just a novice who's just exploring a little bit of what this world has to offer, simply because I've played Space Marine 2. And I was kind of curious about this world where everyone is always screaming for the Emperor and are fighting everything under the sun.
But it's greener on the other side.
I don't care, Denim. You stay on our side of the grass. You stay on our side of the grass. No excuses. But yes, I'm just reacting to a couple of things, and there's actually something I wanted to read up on. Like, I have the page centered around the Emperor of Mankind, and I kind of want to explore and look at this, because this thing is apparently very long. So I just want to read just a little bit of this and just look into it. But yeah, let's check out Bricky's video. Desktop audio is on. Good thing I turned that on this time. So let me turn Bricky up, and let's go ahead and begin.
In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium exists the Empire of Man, a backwards carcass of an empire comprised of many devoted forces, gigantic robot knights, religious machine cultists, and incredibly heavily armored women, most likely with sweltering abs. And one must know what those abs taste like.
Oh, he made a G Fuel flavor out of abs.
My Gamer Sups flavor is here. Sweet six-pack has arrived. A delicious and refreshing cherry pineapple blend. Play the sound. Yes, my
Here's the thing, Kitty. People be making up their own G Fuel flavors, especially big YouTubers, and they just be naming it random stuff. Some of them just name it random stuff. So Sweet Six Pack is one, and I know Angry Joe has another flavor. I think Smug-Alana has one as well. I think Smug-Alana has one as well. I don't know if Alicia has one, though. I don't know if she has one. But I know a lot of content creators have their own flavors of G Fuel. I'm kind of wondering what I would make mine if I ever made one. Taste of the peoples. I'm sorry, let's continue.
Bricky's official Gamer Subs flavor is here. Sweet six-pack, not only in regular energy mode, but also...
No, it's not G Fuel, Gamer Subs. Sorry, got those mixed up. Angry Joe has G Fuel, everyone else has Gamer Subs. Sorry, got that mixed up.
So in caffeine...
Never have I ever. Yeah, people be naming it some funny stuff.
Free. The cherry pineapple flavor is not the kind of flavor that just smacks you in the face. It is light, it is refreshing, and it's one of those things where you sip it and you go, not bad. And next thing you know, you are having your 4th refill the same day. And it is available now. Link in the description. Use code Bricky for 10% off your entire order. Not just for this, but for everything you buy. And I'm not dumb. If you buy any of these tubs, regular, caffeine-free of my sweet 6-pack flavor, you will get a Muscle Girl 32-ounce shaker completely for free. There are only a couple thousand of those shakers, so get it while supplies lasts. I cannot believe we finally have this, but I told everyone, like, once you find out the flavor, you'll be like, yeah, that tracks, and damn straight does it track. Sweet 6-pack available now. Code Bricky, link in the description.
He's silly.
The age of knowledge and enlightenment has ended. The age of darkness has begun. Roughly 60 million years ago, there existed aliens. And these aliens lived short, painful lives. They belonged to radiation-stricken worlds and often died of various cancers before the age of 30. These aliens, the next...
Are those Bleach women? Looks like Yoruichi, Orihime, and Nell. I can't say who are the ones on the side, but obviously the one that's in the middle. Obviously that one's Yoruichi. War Angel Delight. You must be quoting from either a book or from someplace else. That just sounds like something that's from Warhammer lore. But yeah, I don't know who the two ladies who are on the side, but I mean, everybody knows that's Yoruichi in the middle. Because there's only one character in anime and manga existence that has that exact shape. But the green hair, that's Nell, right? The thing about Nell is, I can't even tell. I can't even tell with this G Fuel canister if that's Nell at all. Because I can't see if her hair is long. Because Nell has long hair. Nell has long hair. So I don't know who the two ladies on the side are, but we all know Yoruichi. He quoted Gilliman Plague Wars. Ah, Ferrum TV, thank you for enlightening me. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's continue. This is 31 minutes, and then we'll check out the Emperor of Mankind.
The age of darkness has begun.
Oh, don't be sorry, kitty. You're fine. Don't even worry about it.
Roughly 60 million years ago, there existed aliens. And these aliens lived short, painful lives. They belonged to radiation-stricken worlds and often died of various cancers before the age of 30. These aliens, the Necron tier, looked up to the stars and found extreme beings of real power. Beings with the ability to create life. The old ones of the galaxy. They asked these old ones for help. Please cure us of our ailments. To which the old ones said, piss off. So the Necron tier gathered together and did the sensible thing. They declared war upon these old beings and were promptly beaten into the dirt back to their short, painful lives. In the world of Warhammer, there is a hell. This hell is not like you and I know it. It's more of an afterlife, a place where dead souls end up. This place has many names: the Empyrean, the Sea of Souls, the Immaterium, and the Ether, but mostly we just call it the Warp.
Real quick, I got a question, because I just beat Space Marine 2 yesterday, and from what I know, it should not be possible for people to exist or even survive inside of the warp itself. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? As far as I know, no one should be able to just willingly walk into the warp and then be able to walk back out. As far as I know Bricky may cover it in this video, but I just thought I'd address it. As far as I know, no one should be able to... Okay, yes. You say yes. Okay. Because part of me found something just a little bit now, mind you, since I'm still green behind the ears on things that are 1 second and you're done. Regular humans can't even last a second. Okay, so here's my thing. Mind you, and this is coming from a person who has just got introduced to Warhammer literally during the early parts of this week and the later half of last week, which is when I started to get into it. Thank you for making those streams so enjoyable and so successful. Thank you for that. But from what I understand, no one should be able to survive walking in there. So when you get to the end part of Space Marine 2, there's a part where you just walk in there. Like, literally at the end, when you see Calgar, he just willingly walks into the warp. And then your dudes Titus and Chiron and Gadriel, they all walk into the warp as well, and that's where the final boss fight is. That should not be possible, right? Now, mind you, I'm not really a big Warhammer 40k buff, but from what I understand, interacting with the warp is bad for anyone, unless you willfully allow yourself to be manipulated by it, which is considered heresy towards anyone in the Imperium. So we just willingly walk into the warp. And then we have our final boss fight there. As far as we know, it wasn't the warp. So could it have been... Okay, because they weren't even sure. They weren't even sure during the mission. Is this the Immaterium? But I guess they could... I guess the people who wrote it could possibly write it in a way where it's like... They could write it in, like, this was an illusion set up by Zeech, and it's not actually the warp itself. Otherwise, we all would have died instantly if we went in there. Let me see. In the Astartes movie, in the end, Astartes coughs blood because there is no air. Wait! Astartes... When they got absorbed into that orb, they got pulled into the warp that whole time? Mind you, my knowledge of Astartes is just simply me watching it and thinking how awesome the Space Marines are. But that was the warp at the end? That was 50-50% warp and real space. Corvus Korvax, leader of the Raven Guard, was last seen entering the Eye of Terror. What about the Custodian with the Demonic Blade and Grey Knights? Haven't they been in the warp and come back? I don't know, because I have no idea who you're talking about. I told you, I'm green behind the ears when it comes to this, but let's continue.
While you and I know and the Ether, but mostly we just call it the Warp. While you and I know of Hell as a place of horrors and punishment, the Warp isn't really that, not in the beginning. It's energy, but the kind of energy formed from thought and soul, psychic energy, where the dead souls of people end up in a place that is impossible to understand. No laws of reality exist. Like, time is merely a suggestion, and it is not something that can be braved easily. The warp would be like sailing the ocean in a pirate movie. To jump from your ship would be certain death. To stay in the sea for too long on your boat could drive a man mad. And there are many dangerous things lurking in those depths. Yet, the sea is not evil. It simply is. Mostly. There are more malevolent beings in those waters, areas that you do not sail towards. This would be known as the realm of chaos. The realm of chaos exists in the warp as a special area led by 3 chaos gods. Khorne, the god of combat, murder, and slaughter, with a pile of skulls taken in his name. Tzeentch, god of change, mystery, and deceit, a confusing paradox of lies.
This literally looks like the final area in Space Marine 2. This literally looks like the final area. Man. Okay, wow, okay. All right. Let me see. Gotta go. Driving time. All right, kitty, stay safe out there. Let's see. So they have a thing called Galar Field. It's frozen. It freezes. Freezes the time around the space around you and helps you exist in the warp. You literally bring your materium into the materium. Custodians can't exist in the warp. Grey Knights can because they're psychers. Interesting. The final area was Tzeentchian. Yeah, I could tell. Anything blue, it's Tzeentch. See, that's the thing. That's immediately... I fully knew it was Tzeentch as soon as I started seeing those bird creatures that we were fighting when we were on Demarium. When we were on Demarium, and we started fighting those blue creatures, I immediately thought Tzeentch. I was all like, oh, snap, we're dealing with him. Or his minions. So, yeah.
Schemes and sorceries, and Nurgle, god of rot, pestilence, and Genshin impact. All things rot in the end, and Grandfather Nurgle is waiting for you with open arms. These gods ruled their respective realm in the warp, sending their many followers against each other in the great game to be the most powerful of all the gods. So the warp exists. Hell is real, parallel to our galaxy, with the realm of chaos and its gods fighting for control.
Hope your day's been good.
There are also gods of real space, gods of the normal world too. They're called Catan, and they eat stars.
You think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
These star gods saw the plight of our poor Necron tier and how the old ones cast them aside and said, you know what? You guys want immortality? Oh, we will make it happen. We are the gods of the tangible, of real space. We can give you a cure. So then they ate all their souls and turned them into robotic automaton, feasting on their souls and leaving a hollow shell of an intelligence left that is technically immortal. With the power of an entire species' souls, they turned their new robotic slaves on the old ones and hunted them to extinction. The Necron tier, now the soulless, undying Necrons, got their wish at the price of their souls. But we can count the number of kind gods on an amputated hand. With time, the selfish star gods turned on each other, fighting one another for more chances at glory and power. With this, the leader of the Necrons, Zarek, the Silent King, the man who doomed his species when he accepted this deal, waited, planned, bide his time until he seized the perfect moment and turned his legions of undead citizens against the star gods. Gods cannot be killed, but they can be broken. So Zarek broke the star gods into thousands of pieces and locked them away in vaults, taking their free will away as they did to them, and sealed them away as basically Pokemon to be used as weapons in the future.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
It's the Void Dragon.
Zarek then, with his perfect memory, exiled himself for his sins, flying out to the darkness between galaxies to atone for what he had done. This entire situation, the genocide of the Old Ones and the rebellion of Zarek, will go down in history as the War in Heaven. It is the most brutal war the galaxy has ever seen and ever will see. This was a conflict that took an entire galaxy-spanning species and pitted them against gods that ate stars. The Necrons, rather crippled from, you know, the War in Heaven, decide to go to sleep in gigantic tomb worlds on various planets until the upstart species of the galaxy died out. And so turns out when you have a war that lasts tens, hundreds of thousands of years and involves the genociding of multiple species, the old ones of the galaxy, and the consumption of souls from an entire race, the warp gets a little wacky. You know, if you had a kiddie pool and it was nice and calm, Korn is over there splashing about, so you don't really go in that direction. Nurgle has explosive diarrhea, so you don't really go in that direction either, but you can still kind of get in the pool. The pool's still fine. Turns out when you add a couple trillion souls to that kiddie pool, it'll make the waves a little more turbulent. And turns out a lot of them like to pick a side, Nurgle, Tzeentch, or Korn. So the once calmer warp, the once relaxing kiddie pool, has now been bloated. A million years of war will certainly make Korn, god of murder and slaughter, more powerful. A million years of war will probably make Tzeentch, god of deception and change, a little more powerful. And good God, a million years of war will make Nurgle, god of decay, oh, just the tiniest bit more powerful. Now, entering that kiddie pool is no longer fun, it's dangerous. The warp is now a problem. Hell is resembling hell a lot closer to what we imagined it originally. The Sea of Souls and the Realm of Chaos are now intertwined. So who else to brave the galaxy than a species that won't need to deal with that? The Eldar are space elves. They have a lot of the traits that you probably think of when you think of elves. Tall, slender, pointy ears, a bit more androgynous looking, no matter what DeviantArt will tell you, and a bit stronger on the emotional side. The old ones, as I mentioned, could create life. And when they were getting, you know, absolutely bodied by the Catan and the Necrons, they made some new races to try to help them. One of them was the Eldar. It didn't save them, but they're here now anyway. Oh, and also the orcs, but they're busy right now. The Eldar are a particularly psychically powerful race, so they were really adept at being able to handle the new turbulent warp of chaos and good at killing Necrons, hence why they went to sleep. Being psychically gifted is basically like being a wizard, but you get your wizard powers from hell. This is called being a psyker. And basically, if you want to do cool wizard shit like lightning from your hands or reading someone's mind, you can do that, but you siphon the energy to do that from the warp.
Real quick. Has there ever been a game where you could play a psyker? That's an honest question. Has there ever been a Warhammer 40k game where you could actually play as a psyker? I'm just wondering. Because you see all the Space Marines, and you get to play as them, but is there a game where you get to specialize in being a psyker? Rogue Trader and Dark Tide. Really? Maybe I have to... Right, Dark Tide, got it mixed up. Oh, Dark Tide. The whole joke behind the orcs is that the only two reasons they haven't taken over the galaxy yet is that they are stupid and are too busy curb stomping each other. I believe either you said that already, JW, in when we were looking at the other factions, or someone else said it. No playable librarians aside from Dawn of War where they're caster heroes. Yo, what's going on, Orwindo? Welcome. Okay, alright, let me see. Is Dark Tide a good game, though? Is it a good game? Hmm. How do people feel? How do people feel about this game? How do people feel about it? Yeah, there are. Veteran, Zealot, Psyker, and Ogren? Ogren? Like Left 4 Dead. Hold on. I know we're taking a bit of a tangent. Ogren, Psyker. Psyker is the only thing that really interests me because I love mage classes in video games. Let's see. Psychic mutants or psychers draw power from the immaterium to fuel their formidable mental abilities. They are viewed with suspicion as witches throughout the Imperium. Your psyker mastery allows you to manipulate the fundamental forces of motion with the power of your mind, empowering your allies even as you weaken your foes and exploding the odd head or two into the bargain. Skill tree. Okay, that's a weakness of mine. But, let's see, kinda-ish, mostly wasted potential. It's like Space Marine 2 PvE, but against, Nurgle cultists. To be fair, it didn't help the orc much, even when they're smart. Ogren, best boy, if you like CRPGs, Rogue Trader is good, and you can be a psyker and have psykers in your retinue. Interesting. I'm just looking at it. There's no guarantee that I'm going to play Darktide, because my backlog's already big enough as it is. And I probably won't be getting any brand new games that are coming out this year. I'll probably play some, like Marvel Rivals. That's the only other one on my list. But I got a ton of other games I'm probably going to be playing this year just to chill and relax. In my opinion, Rogue Trader is the better game. Very dialogue heavy, though. Interesting. Yeah, I'll look at this. I'll look at this a little bit later, because this looks like it's going to be extensive. We need to get back to Bricky. I'll check it out later. Yeah, I'll check it out later.
Luckily, the Eldar do that, but you siphon the energy to do that from the warp. Luckily, the Eldar are very good at handling this without too many negative effects, because, you know, summoning power from the Sea of Souls with the new Chaos Friends can be a bit of an issue. But Eldar are pretty good at it. And you see, what's really cool and also awful about Warhammer is that most developed species travel long, faster than light distances by going through that warp. They create a tear in reality to unreality and move through it. Faster than light travel? Cringe. We go through hell itself to deliver your packages. For those of you who play Minecraft, you know how the Nether is like a pocket dimension? So moving 10 spaces in the Nether is actually moving something like 1,000 in the real world. That's basically what warp travel is. Just much like in the Nether, there are a lot of things that want to kill you. The Eldar found a way to do so in between realities. Not regular reality, not the warp, something else. A purgatory of sorts, a fabricated psychic realm that allowed them to travel without fearing the negative effects of the warp. The Eldar were the perfect fit for the new galaxy, and they took it with open arms and pointy ears. The empire of the Eldar spread everywhere, and it spread all the way until now. The 21st century. That's right, while you were watching NPC streams on TikTok, the space elves were ruling the galaxy, and they did so for...
Please tell me people don't still do that. The whole NPC trend, I really hope no one does that. Please tell me that that stopped. Please tell me that that stopped. Please.
quite a long period of time.
We don't know.
The 21st...
I was about to say, I know that joke so much. I was about to say, men, bum, 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 we don't know what we did. Thank God it died out in the mainstream. Oh, so it's died down then. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. That NPC randomness? No. Like, oh, thank you for the cookie. Yum yum yum. And like, what? Huh? Too much faith in humanity, man. Well, I gotta be positive somewhere. I'm the optimistic guy.
The space elves were ruling the galaxy, and they did so for quite a long period of time.
How to be friends.
The 21st century came and went. Humanity grew and grew, all under the nose of their elf overlords. At this time, humans advanced, your classic sci-fi style way. We began to expand, colonize our solar system, terraformed our planets, created new and more powerful machines and starships. The age of Terra, also known as Earth, but we call it Terra here, was here, and existed between the 21st century all the way until the 15th millennia. Not much is known about this time, not much needs to be known. Humanity grew up, sought the stars.
Hey look, it's an AI character from Starfield.
It's classic. Then came the years between 15,000 and 25,000, the age of technology, or to some, the dark age of technology. This is when humanity reached a new apex of technological understanding. When you think of sci-fi, there's a lot of things you can think of. Star Trek, maybe Star Wars style, you can go cyberpunk dystopian. The age of technology was deep sci-fi, like a scientific prowess that fringed on magic. This is also when the first ever psychers began showing up in humanity. Individuals with the genetic mutation to be able to access the warp, and then because of that, travel through it. Humanity was no longer constricted to their early ways of travel. With warp travel, they could go anywhere in the galaxy. They equipped ships with gigantic AI machines, with everything you would ever need to know about mankind, and sent them out on colony ships to expand their influence across the galaxy. This was truly the golden age of humanity. And with every golden age, there is a fall. While the new human upstarts of the galaxy were reaching new levels of technology and prowess, the Eldar were engaging in
Debauchery!
What happens when a species has everything? You can produce unlimited food out of nothing. Your need for farmers and workers, gone. You have dominated the stars and have created a fast travel system that doesn't rely on the dangers of the warp. You have nothing else to do. You have no struggles, no problems, and feel as if there is nowhere else to go. Well, you begin to experiment. The Eldar started harmless enough. You take a serious interest in your species' culture, your arts, paintings, poems, plays. These are Eldar, elves, remember? Their emotions are heightened, more powerful than us humans. So your plays get louder. They start to push on the limits of your hearing ability. Your music becomes different, more deranged. It pushes the boundaries of what is art. The visual spectacle of art becomes more bizarre, more delusional, more eccentric. And let's not forget a very important sense. Touch. Pornography is one thing. I'm a virgin. Brothels is another. What if they all mixed? What if your brothels were part of your art and music? And what if those became more deranged? The boundaries of debauchery were not just met, but shattered. Next thing you know, murder is commonplace and often mixed with the art, music, and sex. Pain is a common byproduct of entertainment. Whatever sensation you can have must be increased, must be enhanced, must be taken to the limits. The Eldar Empire slipped into a nightmarish realm of debauchery and excess, with the worst of it taking place in a city in the Webway, a black market for these kinds of heinous acts known as Kamara. Some Eldar saw the writing on the wall, saw what was happening to their species and how far they had slipped. So they boarded continent-sized starships called craft worlds and left their empire, seeking a more enlightened, calmer existence among their peers. Some, those in Kamara, pushed it to even greater heights, relishing the pain and torment they inflicted on those around them. All during this, the warp, the yin to the yang of the world, was fed by these emotions, by the psychic power of the Eldar, by the souls taken in these depraved acts on a galactic scale. And just like that, Eldar ended. Slanesh the fourth chaos god was birthed into existence and consumed the souls of 90% of the Eldar population. Those that fled were spared the worst of it, and those in the webway and Kamara were able to stave off the pull of Slaanesh so long as they continued to commit horrid acts of torture and violence. But for the majority of the Eldar, their empire died with Slaanesh's birth. The new fourth chaos god, she who thirsts, the god of unspeakable excess of pleasure, pain, hedonism, and perfection, had been born. With the fall of the Eldar Empire came the ruin of humanity. Slaanesh's birth sent storms in the warp across the galaxy, making travel between star systems impossible. Coupled with a huge classic AI rebellion, as a staple in these sci-fi settings, humanity began to suffer the age of strife. Now, planets that relied on intergalactic travel were completely cut off. Long-range messages normally sent through the warp were snuffed out. If you were a planet that was great at mining stuff but couldn't get food, well, you know that movie about the rugby players in the mountains? Oh, and because of these insane warp storms and fluctuations, psychers began to appear among the human population a bit more often. Now, this initially had them hunted down as witches, because that's pretty common in this setting, but some deemed it right to protect them. Unfortunately for those people, psychers, because they open a gateway to the warp, don't really know how to use their powers well, and they kinda attract demons, who then force their way through the psyker as a conduit of sorts and begin to slaughter the population of your planet. The Age of Strife was a catastrophic period of time for humanity and set back their progress tenfold over the not one, not two, but 5,000 year period. During this time, the age of humanity that we know began to form. Worlds equipped with large mechs for agriculture began to equip them with weapons to defend from alien and demonic invaders. Over 5,000 years, this became a custom and tradition, dubbing them as night worlds, a feudal society of honor-bound knights in gigantic robots that uphold the chivalric code to defend their worlds and honor. A group of individuals on Mars, after radioactively bombing their planet to become inhospitable to human life, ran their entire lives underground on the few life support systems keeping them alive. Those technicians who could work on the machines and keep them operational were revered, and over 5,000 years went from skilled members of society to full-blown priests. The cult mechanicus, or tech priests of Mars, formed in the ashes of the Red Planet with a religious fervor and doctrine on the cult of the machine god. And on Earth, or Terra, techno-barbarian tribes waged war across the planet in a Mad Max style of blood and gore, until finally, a mysterious man who lived in the shadows of Terra for millennia finally revealed himself to the populace. His name was the Emperor. He deemed himself the Emperor of mankind. Where did he come from? I don't know. Why is he 10 feet tall and the most powerful psyker of all of mankind? I don't know. Why is he basically immortal? I don't know. Where'd Cotton Eye Joe go? Who knows? But he's here, and he isn't happy with all of you ripping up Terra. So he began the Unification Wars, where he and a very early version of the famous Space Marines, the Thunder Warriors, reunited Terra under a single banner. With blood. Then, after taking over Earth, he reunited the Thunder Warriors into the fucking dirt. This is where we get the Imperium of Man, also known as the Imperium. The new faction headed by the Emperor of Mankind, with a treaty signed with the cult mechanicus on Mars to spread out and reunite humanity after the catastrophic Age of Strife. But first, the Emperor is going to need some smaller versions of himself. 20 of them, 18 of them, I meant, gene-crafted sons of the strongest human to ever live. All of them possess unparalleled strategic power, intelligence, formidable strength and size, a real powerful force to unite humanity and stop the chaos of the current galaxy. Speaking of chaos, you ever seen that image of that guy? It's like throwing the baby like a basketball. It's about what happened. The Chaos Gods intervened and grabbed the 18 Primarch gestation pods and yeeted them across the galaxy galaxy at a whim, everywhere they could possibly go. A galactic game of keep away. So the Emperor had to get them back. So begins the Great Crusade. A crusade across the stars to reunite not just humanity, but the Emperor with his fallen sons. The first to be found was Horus, one of the strongest and most noble sons. The Emperor carried with him a legion of newly crafted warriors with genetic material made from their primarch father. These are the newly made Space Marines. For Horus, his were the Luna Wolves. And as the Emperor continued on his great crusade, he found more and more of his sons, reuniting them with their individual Space Marine legions. Leman Russ, the cunning hunter with the Space Wolves. Rogel Dorm, the Phalanx with the Imperial Fists. Angron, the Barbarian, the very angry with his World Eaters. Fulgrim, the Perfect with his Emperor's Children. And Jagatai Khan, the Swift, the Stoic, and his White Scars. Those were just some of the 18, and one by one his lost Primarch sons were returned to him, and their Space Marine legions returned to them. The Great Crusade saw humanity once again reconquer the stars, returning worlds of humanity back to the Imperium and killing any and all who stood against their noble crusade. But
real quick, because this is a lot for me to take in right now. I'm just listening. I'm just listening. I'm not yawning because I'm bored. I'm not yawning because I'm sleepy. I had breakfast sausage, and that does that to me sometimes. Just letting you know. But I was thinking when I was looking at the Emperor of Mankind, and I think I do a lot of thinking when it comes to video games and such. And games that don't exist, I make them up and just think of them as a concept. And I came up, so who knows what a Muso game is? And if you don't know what that name traditionally means, then who knows what a Dynasty Warrior spinoff is? Because I was thinking of a Space Marine Dynasty Warrior spinoff where you get to play as, like, you know, regular famous Space Marines, along with some Primarchs, along with some well-known Chaos Legions, along with some well-known factions and their named characters, such as like let's say you get to play as what's a named Tyranid that actually has a name? Not the type it is, but it actually has a name that they've given it. Something like that, then something for the Necrons, and then like the big unlock you get. The big unlock you get is you get to play as the Emperor of Mankind when he's up and moving, and you just has all that power, and you get to use that against like whole armies. Akin to like playing Whitebeard in Pirate Warriors 4. Or Kaido in Pirate Warriors 4. Or even Roger in Pirate Warriors 4. Just an idea. Primarchs would be too strong, though, particularly Magnus. I want a Devil May Cry clone with Primarchs for his Robo Girl Blackstone Fortress. Tyranid One Eye. There's really only one with a name, the Swarm Lord, just Hivemind. Okay, so there isn't necessarily like a named Tyranid that you could probably play. So they'll probably just be better as just like regular fodder you would see in a Muso game. So maybe it would just be the Space Marines themselves that you play, but you also throw in a couple of Primarchs in there. And then the big unlock you get for doing everything in the game and beating the game on its hardest difficulty, or you unlock a brand new difficulty, and alongside that, you unlock a playable Emperor of Mankind. Instead of him just being like a rotting corpse on the throne, that much I know, he could just be like a playable character. You're just swiping your hand over the whole area, and you're just destroying everything because he's essentially a cheat character. Just a random thought I had. I was just thinking of like what a Space Marine Muso game would be like, and the type of characters that you could play. Just a thought.
But in the years of killing any, returning worlds of humanity back to the Imperium and killing any and all who stood against their noble crusade. But in the years of the 31st millennia, treachery would break this all apart.
Men, we don't know what we did
Horus, the
Named Space Marines are still tough to implement because you need clearance to make stuff canonical. So I'm guessing there's a ton of red tape that you got to go through before you can even make a game that can also possibly canonize some things. Well, what if it's just a spin-off? What if it's just a spin-off that has nothing to do with the main storyline and you're just using the names that are in there to create its own story, its own self-contained story? Same amount of red tape? Because if that's the case, then it's no wonder we really haven't gotten anything other than Space Marine recently. Space Marine 2 recently. Oh, okay. So this goes a lot deeper than I thought. Yeah, this goes a lot deeper than I thought. There's a lot more to deal with when it comes to Warhammer, it seems. So many Space Marine games feature original characters made for the game. Ah, I see. So, still a lot of red tape. Okay, so my idea could only go so far because there's so much. There's like a Hokage's office level of paperwork that you got to go through before you can even say, like, okay, we'll consider the idea. And then you got to quadruple that amount of tape, that amount of red tape, that amount of paperwork in order for any development to go. Okay, all right, so it was a bit of a pipe dream. I'm just saying I do that for everything. Not just Space Marine, but I make up Muso game ideas with literally tons of IPs. So, but seeing as how this one could probably be the most difficult to do, simply because of just how much work is going to have to go into it, not only for you to use different names, different terms, and characters and such, yeah. I'll probably see a Star Wars Muso, a Marvel Muso, a DC Muso, a Muso of Overlord, a Muso of that time I got reincarnated as a slime, a Bleach Muso, a Jujutsu Kaisen Muso. Y'all need to give us a Jujutsu Kaisen Muso because Curse Clash wasn't it. Or even a My Hero Academia Muso before I ever see a Space Marine Muso at all. I understand. It's just, there's just too much you have to take care of first before it could even become a reality. I understand. As a novice, I understand. Your ideas is better set up during the Great Crusade where all 18 primarchs are up front leading their armies. That would probably be the best setting for it. Not where it currently is now, where the Emperor of Mankind is just a running corpse that's still having thousands of lives, 1,000 lives sacrificed in order to keep it going. And where everything is right now. Probably not then, but you know, during the Great Crusade where everyone was actually together. So, yeah. Muso game is known to change history, and I say let the dev have it because people will do anything to save their favorite primarch. And the fact that most primarchs are either missing or too evil. The current story does not have 2 primarchs return from limbo though. Biggie would not even make the game load the map because everyone would be dead before the level would be loaded. Because I'm guessing his mere presence is enough to kill anything other than your average Space Marine just from him just walking in the vicinity. I'm guessing. Kind of like what happened when Aizen reached that level of power to the point where normal people literally just disintegrated in his presence because that's just how much power he has. Am I assuming right? Let me see, Primarchs themselves are too OP though. Every single one of them is able to solo an entire army. With Space Marines included, I don't know how they can balance it. Yeah, that would be the trouble, trying to balance a game where basically Primarchs are pretty much god level, and the Emperor of Mankind is, you know, the pinnacle of power. So yeah. Like I said, just throwing out ideas out there. I just had to get it out of my head because it was on my mind.
Emperor's most millennia, treachery would break this all apart. Men, we don't know what we did. Horus, the Emperor's most beloved and favored son, named War Master for the Crusade, succumbed to the power of chaos and daddy issues. All because of that bastard Erebus. Yo, fuck Erebus. Slowly, Horus would become corrupted, turning the Emperor's sons against him. This begins the most pivotal moment in our story, and the one that has like 50 books written about it, the Horus heresy. Half 9 of the 18 primarchs turned against the Emperor, and the following years were a bloody battle for the throne of Terra. The Emperor originally was working on a special webway project, just like the Eldar, to make faster-than-light travel significantly easier and safer, really improve humanity to allow them to conquer the stars without the risk of the warp. Well, this big red idiot named Magnus kind of blew a hole into that, literally and figuratively. So Big E over there is stuck on a gigantic golden throne, holding back the oncoming rush of demons and powering the Astronomicon. Basically a big North Star for people who are sailing in the warp to help them navigate. The Horus heresy saw many loyalist and traitor legions pitted against each other in a bloody war until it reached Terra itself. Horus, unable to break through the lines and with time running out, made a gambit and opened his ship up to be boarded. The Emperor took this challenge, quickly allowing someone else to take control of the throne as he teleported his way onto Horus's flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. The Emperor, unable to truly kill his most beloved son, changed his mind right quick when Horus strangled the life out of his other son, Sanguinius.
Oh no!
I'm sure you've seen this image at some point. The Emperor then said,
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
and proceeded to psychically blast Horus into complete oblivion, killing not only his body, but also his soul. Horribly wounded from this duel, the Emperor is returned to the Golden Throne in order to keep the demons at bay and power the Astronomicon, because without it, humanity would be flying blind. There he sits, slowly dying from his wounds and the strain of powering the Golden Throne. The only thing keeping him alive is feeding upon the souls of 1,000 psychers every single day. This was 10,000 years ago. We are now in the 41st millennium, modern day. Warhammer 40,000. The Emperor remains on his throne. The Imperium is a rotting carcass of an empire, a fascist, xenophobic cult that worships the Emperor as a deity despite him never wanting to be seen as a god. Over the span of 1 million worlds, the ecclesiarchy, the church of the Emperor, is spread throughout. Inquisitors with unparalleled power root out any sign of heresy or lack of devotion to their god Emperor. The other half of the traitor legions move about as Chaos Space Marines, raiding and pillaging the Imperium, while the loyalist half does their best to keep the Empire alive. All throughout this, they must endure orc invasions, eldar trickery, the reawakening of the Necron race, and the Great Devourer, the newest tyrannid threat from the darkness between galaxies that has arrived to feast on their worlds. The theme of Warhammer 40,000 is regression and intolerance. Every major faction in Warhammer has had an empire that spanned the galaxy only to be crushed back to a hollow shell of what they once were due to their own failings. Culture, the arts, personal freedom, religious tolerance, the simple possibility that alien life might not want to kill us is considered heretical and is often met with a pistol to the head. There is no time for these things. All there is time for is worship of the God Emperor and a million wars to be fought. To be a human in the 41st millennia is 99% of the time to live a horrible existence, to be one of trillions of other humans across a million worlds throughout the galaxy. A galaxy where AI is outlawed, so humans are repurposed and lobotomized to become slaves. A place where lack of devotion is met with death. And if you even have devotion, there's a good chance the threats to the galaxy, chaos, and aliens will kill you anyway.
Real quick. Let me see what DDF said. Let's see. Well, actually, The Last Dragon. But not gonna lie, a massive WH40K game similar to Dynasty Warriors with features such as playable primarchs, if they're able to get it right, would be massive. It would break records and create headlines all over the gaming world. I mean, Space Marine is already kind of a Muso game with hack and slash. There are elements to it, but not in the traditional sense. Now, I definitely get that feeling when I'm playing Space Marine 2 and I have like an entire horde of Tyranids all around me. all around me. But I feel like it would be pushed towards that Dynasty Warriors angle if they threw even more at you. If they threw even more at you and your attack range when you do melee, it was wider. Because Dynasty Warriors likes to give characters movesets that have like a wide range or area of effect. Some games make it so you can increase that. So Space Marine and Space Marine 2, they're kind of in line with that a little bit. The only difference is the gunplay. And there's not just an overwhelmingly large amount of enemies surrounding you on all sides, and of course the classic Muso setup. But it is, I do see where you're coming from. Fun fact, wait, who was it who said, subject 35th. Recently, the Golden Throne started failing, and the tech is too old to fix. The Mechanicus estimate Emperor can live 200 years more. The whole thing about people literally surviving in the world of 40k right now, you know, on the human side of things, is because the Emperor's entire being is holding back everything within the warp from breaking outside of the warp. So you mean to tell me that the world of 40k, unless they can fix this thing, unless they can fix his throne and repair it and get it back in a working condition, the people in this world only got 200 more years left before it's all over, and they get bombarded from the warp itself? Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. See, at least in a set, let's see, no canonical sequence of a great campaign like Dynasty Warriors and its source material. Just not canonical sequence. Okay, yeah. At least in a sense that won't conflict too much with lore. Oh, no, here's the thing. This video is 11 months old. This is 11 months old. This is 11-month-old video, so I don't know if it's going to be current to what has been announced or what you guys may have learned from 11 months ago all the way up until this point. Let's see. More war gear with pole arms would maybe make it feel closer to Dynasty Warriors then. Yeah, it would. Bricky didn't mention the current state of the lore, the 13th Black Crusade, and the subsequent Indomitus Crusade with the revived Primarch Guilliman. The joke is that the Emperor is a perpetual, meaning he's effectively immortal and so can effectively respawn, but no one alive in 40k in the Imperium knows that. Wow. So they're basically sacrificing. So is there a point to them sacrificing 1,000 psychers a day if he's essentially immortal? And he'll effectively come back? Or are they just, or is that really a requirement in order for him to hold back the warp itself? Not every Primarch is as powerful as you can imagine. Logar is weak, Alfari is too, because he can't decide whether he's the real one or not the real one. 2 of his own overpowered loyal sons have recently made a return though, so I don't think it's going to be quite over just yet. Gilliman's return was at least 3 to 4 years ago. Getting wrecked by humans is humiliating. Right now, faster than light travel is still dependent on his body. Okay. And it's theorized his soul has long since separated from his physical body and is now currently in the warp. They don't know that he's immortal. That's funny. They don't know that. They believe keeping him on the throne is what's saving them. Okay. Yes, there is a point, because if the Golden Throne is unoccupied for a second, the enormous demon portal underneath the palace opens, but Emperor is immortal. Okay, alright, okay, so there is, okay, I just thought I'd double check, like I said, I'm new to this whole Warhammer stuff, so I rely on you guys to correct me when I am wrong, thank you. So, they do need to keep sacrificing 1,000 psychers every single day. Every single day. Interesting.
Warhammer is a world galaxy, chaos and aliens will kill you anyway. Warhammer is a world where you revel in being bad. There are protagonists, there are antagonists, but every faction is some shade of evil. Because playing the bad guys is always more fun. And my friend, you have a selection.
Bricky does make a good point, though. It is incredibly fun to be the bad guy. Yet games nowadays don't truly embrace that. Games nowadays don't embrace it. Like when I was playing through Fallout 4, we were talking about how Bethesda would like for you to play as a bad person, but they really make the entire story on the mindset that you're going to be a good person, and that there's really no, they did not factor in a person wanting to be bad 100% of the time. We get games where you want to be the villain, and sometimes they'll steer you in the direction of being a villain, but some of them don't really commit. You understand? They don't commit. Like, what if because I got Skyrim booted up right now. I'm working on a thief character. I'm gonna rob everybody and become a master thief. I'm using the Khajiit because they're best at it. So, what if I wanted to play as a person who didn't want to save the world at all? Skyrim isn't built like that. It lets you do bad things, but it keeps giving you options and tons of options for you to be a good person, for everyone to see you as a good person. There's no sense of morality where you could literally be evil and stick with it, and the game is built ready so that it can anticipate your evil acts, and then it behaves that way. Then you have Fallout, specifically Fallout 4, where what if I just wanted to be a psychopath? The game doesn't allow you, it allows you to do bad things, but it doesn't let you commit to them because the game is not built around the thought of you wanting to actually be a bad person. Those games are built to make you be good. Even if you're trying to be bad, they still give you avenues to, like, redeem yourself, because you can do evil things, but why would you want to be bad? Why would you want to be bad, though? And that's the reason why those games are very fun. Fallout 4 is very fun to me. Skyrim is very fun to me. Some games just don't commit to it. They would rather you want to be good all the time. Like, what if I don't want to be good? What if I just want to massacre everyone and then deal with the consequences as a bad person? Not deal with the consequences and then be put on put on this straight and narrow and then forced to go that way. Let me see. There is no ending, no reward, no response for being evil. The NPCs still act like nothing happened. Exactly. Even if you're evil, no one will look at you as this evil person. Sure, the only thing that'll probably happen to you is people try to get your bounty and try and hunt you down or try to arrest you. Do your time in jail. Did you think about what you did? Yep, I was wrong. All right, now get out of my jail. And then they'll just act as if you didn't just go on an entire village killing spree. My sister, my youngest sister, I let her play Skyrim one time. In that one time, she murdered every single person in Riverwood and was thus locked out of ever doing the rest of the story because she killed everyone, except the kids, because kids are immortal. But she just went and just massacred everyone. What was your reason for doing that? I just wanted to. And the whole game just locked her out of ever completing the game because she's killed everyone. Cartoonishly evil is one thing, but still, yeah. But I blame the writing and how overly committal the bad endings generally are. Not enough of them leave much room for further explorations in a single sequel. No, they don't. They don't. Because they expect you to be good. Because good is in video games. Let me be specific. In video games, being good is the only right choice. We don't want anyone to walk away talking about how they massacred entire villains and then they set the bomb to go off in the ending for the game and then revel in that. No, we want them to be the ones that helped every single person they came across and then stopped the bomb and then saved the world. And then they were revered as a hero because everyone wants that. But what if I wanted to be bad? Why would you want to be bad? Why did you put the option for me to behave like an evil person in the game if it wouldn't have any effect on the overall game as a whole? If your whole purpose was for me to be this good person, why give me the option to be bad? You just wanted me to taste what it felt like to be bad and then go back to being good again? All right, I had my stint. I'm not going to worry about being bad anymore. Let me go back to being good again. Commit! Commit to it! If you got a storyline for being a good guy, there should be a storyline for being a bad guy. I'm just saying, and I know it'll probably take a lot of work, and it'll probably take actual good writers for you to be able to do something like that. But I digress. I'm sorry. Let's see. She would be an excellent sister of battle. My youngest sister, she would be the type that would just be all like, "Can I kill all of them?" "Yes, you can." "All right." And then she's the type that will go to town. She's the type that would play zombie games just because she wants to see limbs fly and heads fly off. She enjoys that sort of thing. Those are her types. Again, she loves zombie games and sports games. Just brutalizing her opponents. That is what my sister enjoys. My mom used to play a lot of Mortal Kombat and she was really good at it. And I was trying to remember which one she mained. But that's my family. That's my family. But I'm just... See, you get Warhammer 40k where there's no such thing as a good guy. There are just people who are living and doing what they need to survive. And some of it may be seen as evil, but others see it as a necessary evil. So there's no such thing as a good guy in Warhammer, which allows you to be flexible with your morals a little bit. Which I feel more games should take an example from. That's just me, though. Let's see. Being good gets you the most rewards and probably doesn't break the most quest lines. Less content, the nightmare of most game developers. It's the disconnect between devs and writers. Let's see. Warhammer 40k is a perfect setting for everyone to just go absolutely crazy. That's what makes it so awesome and fun at the same time. There's a reason I play somewhat unstable, chaotic, neutral characters. You can somewhat get away with occasional erratic behavior, way more interesting, and that I can completely understand. Writers have to write more lines for evil consequences, but devs won't commit due to crunch. See, and I'm saying all of this knowing that it'll probably cause more work for writers and devs to incorporate all this stuff in order for it to give you both sides. I'm aware of this, but I'm just like, it's a thought. It's a thought in mine. At least with Infamous, when you played through that and you behaved like an evil individual, the whole game proceeded while you're being an evil individual. If you're a good guy, people come up and they help you and they're happy to see you. But if you start being evil, your body starts to change, your skin starts to turn gray, you start to get these veins, these dark veins over your face, your eyes start glowing red a little bit, your lightning goes from a nice heroic blue to a evil Sith red, and the world starts behaving in kind around you. Your powers get more destructive and more chaotic. Civilians see you and try to actively inflict harm on you and throw stones at you while you're climbing buildings and stuff. At least the Infamous series gave you that. True, Baldur's Gate 3 has somewhat of both. That much I know. I'll most likely never play Baldur's Gate 3, but I know it gives you multiple options to be like take on different situations in a massive variety of different ways, in a good way and sometimes in a bad way, with the bad way having some incredibly hilarious consequences. But I said all that to say this. More games should kind of take a cue from Warhammer 40k and not, draw a line between good and evil so much, so people can explore their options on how they approach situations in different games. Not just solely thinking like, oh, I need to be a good guy all the time. Because me, I, on occasion, play like a good guy a vast majority of the time. Save the people, save everyone I can, because that's just where I'm morally aligned to. But sometimes I just want to make a Dark Brotherhood character and just assassinate people. I just want to be a thief and steal from someone's home. Shout out to Fallout New Vegas for being able to be enemy with all factions and still be the game by doing independent Vegas by ruling with your robots or not and enjoy the chaos. To be fair, not many existing franchises are like 40 years old with so much material to work with. That is true. There's not a lot of properties out there with this much material that allows you to kind of work that sort of way. But yeah, let's continue. We're almost done.
So pick up that las gun, soldier. You and the other 3 million men and women in this single deployment on this single world in this single battle will now show them the might of the God Emperor. That weapon in your hands has killed 99% of the alien populations in this galaxy. Unfortunately for you, soldier, you're fighting the final 1%. May the Emperor be with us. Glory to the first man to die, for in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. Thank you, everyone. I hope I have helped teach you about Warhammer. If you are a brand new person and you want to get a bit more about the world, there are multiple books that do a great job at showing off how the entire universe operates. For the most part, Warhammer is a setting, and often stories are told in that setting with a Warhammer coat of paint. Gaunt's Ghosts is Band of Brothers, but Warhammer. It's honestly one of my #1 recommendations for new people. Assassinorum Kingmaker is an assassin novel involving those night worlds. This is Mission Impossible, but Warhammer. Bloodlines is Blade Runner, but Warhammer. And the list goes on and on. If I had to recommend a brand new novel for a first-time Warhammer enjoyer, these are the 4 I would recommend. Horus Rising, Caiaphas Cain, First and Only Gaunt's Ghost, and Infinite and the Divine. They are all fantastic novels, and they will get you acquainted with the world without needing to know too much. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Get yourself a Gamer Subs flavor, enjoy the new sweet 6-pack, and if you're curious and you want, just a little Lord, you can find him in the description as well on my merchandise store, orchid8.com. Thank you for watching, and may the God Emperor be with us.
Come on. Obviously, you're a skater.
All right, so that was the timeline of Warhammer 40K. Interesting. Now, I wonder if Bricky has a video on the Horus heresy, because y'all were telling me about that. Does he have one? I don't think he does. There's a Horus heresy full introduction, 2 hours. Horus heresy in under 9 minutes. Thank you, Sandman of Terra. Yeah, there we go. Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to dedicate 2 hours and 11 minutes to checking out full introduction to it. So at the very least, we can check out this one in under 9 minutes so I can get the synopsis of it. The Horus heresy is long. Yep. Let's see. It's too long and complicated. That much I can imagine. That's the reason why there's a 9-minute one right there. But let's see. Because you technically have to chronicle what 18 primarchs are doing. Yeesh. First and Only, Horus Rising, and Infinite and the Divine are real good, but Horus Rising is a bit more difficult if you are not a bit more knowledgeable. I recommend playing Dawn of War, a bit old but still really fun and representative of the other factions in the universe outside of the Imperium. Kyushu, if you want to go into the Horus heresy, watch individual Primarch videos while along. That is the best way to go, in my opinion. For only lasting 7 years in canon, the Horus heresy lore is vast. Bricky's reading Horus heresy books right now, I believe, for Adric Book Club. Interesting. There's like a dozen books just about the Horus heresy. Yes, discover each Primarch, basically the HH itself. Imagine compressing 60-something books under 9 minutes. Let's see. You guys are the Warhammer experts. Let's see if this person does a good job. And this was 8 months ago.
Long before Titus defended Avarax, long before Cadia decided to stand in pieces, Games Workshop found another way to sell more Space Marines. Set 10,000 years before Warhammer 40k, this is the background and mythology of the setting in 64 books. The Iliad and the Odyssey combined are only 48. Take that, Greece. The Horus Heresy. After ChatGPT rebelled and humanity's first galactic empire fell apart, a man of godlike power, humbly known as the Emperor of Mankind, decided to launch his great crusade to unite the worlds of humanity into the Imperium of Man. These were the good times. Sure, his sons had been mysteriously scattered throughout the galaxy as infants, and sure, there were various Xenos civilizations that rudely decided not to just roll over and die, but on the whole there were many laughs and lots of purging. All the Emperor's sons, the Primarchs, were eventually found, and these 19 demigods were truly the best when it comes to genetically engineered super warriors. They were perhaps the greatest generals the galaxy has ever known. And Leman Russ. Each Primarch is unique, except for the ones that are kind of the same, and each leads their Space Marine Legion, the Emperor's Angels of Death. Vast armies of super soldiers with a myriad of incredible abilities, although most of them very rarely come up in the books. As the Great Crusade neared its peak, the Emperor returned to Earth, which is called Terra for some reason, and he will tell nobody why, partially because it's a secret project, and partially because he genuinely likes to mess with his sons. Seriously, he's a terrible dad. In wake of this, the Emperor's first found, if you have not read that Alpharius novel, son Horus Lupercal, is raised to a level above his brothers. He now commands the Great Crusade with the title of War Master. And to mark his promotion, he will give his legion a particularly uninspired name change. However, the 4 Chaos Gods of Nurgle, Angry, Blue, and Nippleplay oppose the Emperor. They call him their anathema because they thought Neoth sounded silly, and he was such a threat that they took a break in their great game to bring him down. Servants of the Chaos Gods, and most importantly, this absolute turd, worked desperately to turn Horus against his father. They basically killed him, showed him twisted visions and half-truths, and used the memory of his dead son to manipulate him. But Horus was a genius demigod of humanity and saw through these lies, yet ultimately sided with the Chaos Gods anyway when he sees a future where some of his brothers get a statue and he doesn't. Fair enough. So he decided to burn the entire galaxy down anyway. Let the galaxy burn. Thanks, Horus. What followed was a civil war so devastating that half the plot points in 40k have their roots here. Things like the Terminus Decree, the Inquisition, why these guys have red helmets, and, you know, the Tyrannid invasion. Horus was revived, empowered as the chosen champion of the Dark Gods. Then he'll go through the gate at Molech into the realm of chaos itself and return empowered as the chosen champion of the Dark Gods. Then he'll be brought low by the Spear of Russ, but after his son's sacrifice, he'll return empowered as the for the love of God, can we just get to the Siege of Terra? Fortunately, Horus's brother Magnus the Red had foreseen the War Master's betrayal, and so he decided to make a meme. To warn his father, Magnus attempts a magical Zoom meeting from across the galaxy, despite the fact that the Emperor had said no more magic and not to disturb him during his special alone time. In his attempt, Magnus will blow past the magical wards protecting the Imperial Palace and allow demons to almost overwhelm the birthplace of humanity. Whoops. Only by the Emperor being bound to a powerful device, the Golden Throne is the birth world of humanity saved. Henceforth, from the galaxy's most powerful chair, the Emperor is unable to properly join the fight against the traitors. Over time,
Real quick, this is why I'm glad you guys are here. Y'all are already saying, like, you know what? It's fun, should at least be mentioned. That's very simplistic. The fall and betrayal and start of the rebellion by the world bearers is a very important point. See, this, I would have just listened to this while I was working out or doing something else, and I would have thought, like, this is how it went. Okay. But with you guys here, I know that there's probably more that should be mentioned. I'm glad you guys are here.
And 7 other primarchs will join Horus in his rebellion for various reasons, but primarily conceptual symmetry. And for the most part, you won't really be surprised who, as it's either the primarchs that the Emperor insults or humiliates, or the primarchs who grew up on planets whose main export was crime. Seriously though, Mortarion is obsessed with the number 7, Angron and Kurz just outright hate the Emperor. This can't have come as a great surprise. Anyway, as well as turning on their father, some of the traitor primarchs will embrace the powers of chaos and ascend to demonhood. This will grant them almost godlike abilities on the battlefield, but this won't matter as much as you'd think, as it also seems to make them the worst teammates imaginable. The 9 traitor sons will take on team, sort of well-adjusted, but not really, the 9 primarchs loyal to the Emperor. They will be the bulwark against the traitor forces, brave and true, and the Emperor's greatest warrior. Ferris, is that a wrench? Why did you bring a wrench? Be horrified as brother turns on brother, but enjoy the apocalyptic battles. Like the burning of Prospero, when Leman Russ had his orders manipulated by the War Master, so instead of attempting to bring Magnus in quietly, he will not bring him in, and loudly. On Istvan III, Horus will have his sons and 3 other legions purge their ranks of marines too loyal to the Emperor, and especially those who didn't join the secretive warrior lodges, because above all else, the War Master hates those who don't take advantage of fun extracurricular activities. 1 ship escapes, however, and so a retribution force of 7 legions is sent to snuff out the heresy. This would have worked really well if it weren't for the fact that 4 of those 7 legions had secretly thrown in with the War Master. They turned their guns on the 3 loyal legions, who would not be able to properly recover until after the heresy. On Calth, the Wordbearers will delight in betraying the Ultramarines, as revenge for when the Blueberries destroyed the perfect city of Monarchia. Some loyal sons will be unable to take the fight to the enemy, as a gigantic warp phenomenon dubbed the Ruin Storm cuts large portions of the galaxy off from the Emperor's guiding light. However, these 3 primarchs will try to salvage what they can in Imperium Secundus and prove once and for all that blondes do have more fun. The series will reach its epic conclusion in the Siege of Terra. Sanguinius will get the noble death that he deserves. Oh, never mind then. But most importantly, the Emperor will be able to finally defeat Horus before he is bound to the Golden Throne for the next 10,000 years. There are so many incredible battles and stories. So start your journey today, only 54 books to go and a boatload of novellas. Then it's just the Siege of Terra, which is another 10, or you can actually play the game where you'll choose your favourite Primarch and Legion and engage in the sci-fi version of My Dad Could Beat Up Your Dad. You can pick from King Arthur and the Knights of the Round War Crimes, Instagram influencers armed with boomboxes, off-brand Lego, the Fast and the Furious, but more realistic, the Wolfie Wolf Wolf store-brand Lego, Batman,
couldn't even say that with a
Foresight,
straight face.
and Murder, Team Edward with Wings, placeholder to change later, some sort of joke about losing your head, I don't know. My name is Angron of New Syria, Lord of the Red Sands, Primarch of the World Eaters Legion, disloyal servant to the Emperor. No one ever pronounces your name correctly. And I'm not going to start now. Rubber Boot Gorilla Glue, COVID-14, Harry Potter and the Dusty Hallows. You were the chosen one! Poor critical reasoning skills, the good guys, unless you're that one eldar child. That feeling you have when you're a teenager and no one really gets you. And finally, The Parent Trap, the Lindsay Lohan version. Daddy issues in space. I'm really never gonna get over the fact that they named the oldest person in the galaxy Old Person.
Well, this was Sandman of Terra's Horus Heresy in under 90 minutes. Here's one in 40 minutes. I'll probably watch that one on my own. Yeah. And I'll probably watch... you know what? Let me watch the cinematic trailer. This is from 2 years ago. Okay, this part is better, and sure, you don't need to know absolutely everything, but you will be missing some very important context by just watching this. Yeah, I'll look into the Horus Heresy just like it's by itself. Either watch the full introduction or the entire one by Arbiter Ian. Let's see, Horus Heresy cinematic trailer. Everything you need to know. Every novel in 20 minutes. Maybe I'll check out Arbiter Ian. Maybe I'll check it out. Let me see. Bricky does a podcast called Adeptus Ridiculous, which does go into more depth on specific topics. Each one around 1 hour long, but I don't know if you can react to that. I don't know. I never saw anyone do. I don't want to make it a habit of me just like my reactions, and I don't want to make this a habit of like looking at a lot of Bricky stuff and then just reacting to every single thing he's done concerning Warhammer. Because like I said, I'm just a novice. I'm just a novice into this, and there's no guarantee that I am going to get as far deep into this where I'm trying to learn every single little bit of lore concerning this entire universe. So, cause things are subject to change as far as like what I'm going to be covering on the channel and whatnot. I'm only looking into Warhammer and Warhammer stuff simply because I was playing Space Marine 2. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be covering a ton more Warhammer stuff in the future. This is a chapter on this channel's life of me just messing with some Warhammer stuff, and then I'm more than likely going to be messing with some other stuff. So, but at the very least, I should watch the cinematic trailer. So I'll be messing with Warhammer stuff for a little bit, but it probably won't be forever. It probably won't be forever.
I wanted to unleash my legions. I wanted this. I never wanted this. I never wanted to unleash my legions. Together we banished the ignorance of old night. But you betrayed me. You betrayed us all. You stole power from the gods and lied to your sons. Mankind has only one chance to prosper. If you will not seize it, then I will! So let it be war! From the skies of Terra to the galactic rim. Let the seas boil. Let the stars fall. Though it takes the last drop of my blood, I will see the galaxy freed once more. And if I cannot save it from your failure, Father, then let the galaxy burn.
They don't make them like they used to when it comes to cinematic trailers that just make you go like,
That was nice. That boy good. That boy good.
Also, did y'all hear that everyone at Annapurna Interactive, they just all quit? You know, the same people that gave us Stray and Journey and a whole bunch of other games, they just, every single one of them from that entire studio just resigned. Yesterday! Let me see, that's how it starts? Yeah, Flyboy. You don't know my ability for self-control. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that if I don't cover anything on Warhammer on my channel, other than me messing with operations for Space Marine 2, or playing through Eternal War and playing PvP, playing that for a little while, does not mean that I won't be interacting with Warhammer in other ways. Like, I could just be, you know, reading up on these entire pages, like all it is concerning just one singular individual. Why they quit? It was a leadership thing, apparently. Yeah, the entire staff of beloved game publisher Annapurna Interactive basically resigned entirely. Horus was angry, also slightly possessed by a demon after his legion was tricked. So yeah, let's see. The entire staff of Annapurna Interactive have resigned, leaving dev partners scrambling to figure out what's next. The video game publisher had been negotiating with Annapurna owner Megan Ellison, Larry's daughter, to spin out, and the deal fell through. And because of that, they're just straight up leaving. They just straight up resigned. If you want good videos on it, then really, that's really ham and theater it up. Check out the, let me see, Amber King. He voice acts parts of the lore as well. Great while doing other stuff. Horus possessed by a demon. Gotcha. But yeah, that's what happened to Annapurna. That Annapurna. They're all gone. I'm deep into lore and knowledge. Oh, I can understand. I can understand. But yeah, they're gone. Outer Wilds, Neon White, What Remains of Edith, Edith Finch, Stray, Journey. Those same people, they're just gone. They all, and it's not even a small portion of them resigned. The entire staff, they all said, we're out. Just completely, they're gone. Their studio didn't get shut down, they just walked out. The whole crew walked out. That's crazy, though. That's crazy. So, real quick, I'm just gonna... How long have I been doing this? Maybe about an hour? Yeah, it's been about a good hour or so. I just want to read on the Emperor of Mankind. Just a little bit. Let's see. Actually, you know what? Let's do this dramatically. Let's just read through a little bit of the Emperor of Mankind. I mean, power to people being treated wrongfully in the workplace. I mean, yeah, if people are being treated wrongfully in the workplace, they have every right to walk out. I mean, and I told people this when I was working in retail. I don't do that anymore. This is full time. But I told people when I was walking in retail that no amount of what this place can pay you is enough for any abuse you may suffer. And you should always think of your health first. People are like, well, I got to go in for a shift. Is it really worth it if you are sick or if your body isn't 100% for you to do a shift? Because intellectually, a person who is at 100% peak health is an even better employee to have on a workday than one who is sick and is dragging their feet and is causing productivity to be lowered. But that's just me. Not even BioWare, when the founders left, that the whole staff quit like that. No, this is the first time. I can't even remember the last time an entire studio staff walked out and resigned. See, when leaders leave within certain studios, some of those people stay behind. A lot of people stay behind. Maybe it's just the founders who leave. But never have I heard of a studio in recent times, in recent years, where everyone in the studio just up and left and said, we're done. And it's crazy just what things are happening with games nowadays. You got Microsoft, who has apparently laid off pretty much over 650 people. Again, they've laid off more people again. Then you have PlayStation showcasing the PlayStation 5 Pro that no one asked for. It's literally the OLED Switch of PlayStations, because that's really what it is. All these games, they run faster and they run better on PS5. Mind you, the very page that's talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro says that not every game is going to run at its absolute best. There are still going to be games running at 30 FPS. If you're going to give people a pro console, it should run better than what I'm currently running. Like, I got a PS5. It should be running better than that. Games that run on 30 on the PS5 should be running on 60 FPS on the PS5 Pro. And that should be every game. If you can't achieve that, is it really pro? Is it? Hi, this is my first ever stream of you, CJD. Welcome. I was just reacting to a bunch of Warhammer stuff, and I'm going to be reading through a little bit of the Emperor of Mankind, just a little bit, not too much, because this thing for the Emperor is very long. At the very least, I'll just read through this first initial synopsis at the beginning. And that'll probably be it. But yeah, if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm just chilling, looking at some Warhammer stuff because I was just kind of curious about it. So, before I start reading, and really going back to like Microsoft and PlayStation, the only thing that hasn't done anything to make me feel like, okay, so they need to be better than this, is Nintendo. If their Switch allows their games to run at a smooth frame rate, then I'm fine. I'm all right. Nintendo's all right with me. But Microsoft and Sony, they are misstepping. And I say this as a person who mains a PlayStation. I got a Switch, but I main PlayStation because that's where the vast majority of my games are. But even I know that stupid is as stupid does. And putting out a console that not only is, and the insane thing is, this PlayStation 5 Pro is default digital only, with the only option you get to have a disc is to buy the disc tray, the disc drive separately, and it doesn't even come with a stand. And it's $700. So you're looking at $700 plus tax, then you're looking at $30 plus tax, and then how much? PS5 Pro vertical stand. I know they got it. $30. $30 for the vertical stand. Look at the disk drive. What does the disk drive cost? Yeah, look at that. $79 for a disk drive? Is you crazy? That price point is dumb, especially with no disk drive. Just spend $300 more and get a decent PC. That's what everyone is saying! You would probably have a much better chance just buying a full PC than spending $700 on the Pro, on the PS5 Pro. Sony really looked at Apple and said, like, you know what? Maybe they got something going there. You should not be going there, but, you know, that's Sony right now. So hold on. What is the price? Let's see. As the debate rages on about the cost of the PlayStation 5 Pro, sales of the $79. The disc drive costs more than an average PlayStation 5 game. So, where are my glasses? Still use my PS4, and I'm happy with it. Thank you very much. Ratarat, you are fine. You are fine. So let's just add all these numbers up. So PlayStation 5 Pro, $700. Vertical stand, $30. The disc drive, in order for you to get a console that doesn't even look like it does anything that much better than a regular PS5, that costs $79. So now you got to think about, this could be someone's very first PlayStation. You could be looking at maybe close to, in excess of, $800 to maybe $900 if you want to get a whole bunch of games. And then you got to think about controllers. What if you get a game that has multiplayer, split screen co-op, or local co-op? What if you get one of them? You got to think about that. Then you got to think about the bunch of games on top of that. Not just the accessories, but you got to think about the games as well. Adding all that up, you could be spending close to $1,000. And that could build based on how many games you start to get from the console over. I can't be the only person that sees something extremely wrong with this. This is insane. $700 for a console that is literally lacking the means for it to be stable on wherever you set it on. What? Mine came with a stand. It's plastic, but it still works. And it makes it so that, sorry, I bit my tongue a little bit, pardon me. It at least allows my PlayStation to be on its side. I don't sit mine's vertical. I have it on its side because that's what I prefer. Because for a while, we were led to believe that, oh, if you have it setting upright, then the coolant will leak onto your components, and that was proven to be false. So maybe at some point I'll put it up, but I prefer to have it on its side. But it is insane how they are asking for $700 for a console that really doesn't do anything different from what we got with the PlayStation 5 right now. As if people have $700 to burn on a console that doesn't even have the very thing that allows it to be stable on the surface you put it on. That's like being given a phone. That's like being given a chair, but you gotta buy the legs separately. Let alone the cushions. That's literally just buying a chair that may have the cushions already, but you gotta buy the legs separate. That's crazy. I'd recommend reading Conraz's Crew's page just for a glimpse of ultraviolence and how a Primarch crew isn't well adjusted rules a world. I'll look into it, but that's crazy to me considering everything. And then they have that Dana Carvey looking dude who's like, and the thing we have, and he had the glasses, and you know, the dude that looks like he's always smiling when he's looking at you, like smiling with his eyes, like he a model or something. He's all like, and the thing that we have for the PlayStation 5 Pro is the technology that we have developed for it. And he's just staring at you like Dana Carvey from Wayne's World. And his voice reminds me of, hold on. Awesome. Family is getting my food, so I'll be done before they get home with it. But sorry, I went on a whole tangent about video games and PlayStation and stuff, but as it stands right now, and I feel like it's going to be that way for a while, the PlayStation 5 Pro is not worth it. It is not. Because I saw that presentation, and there really wasn't enough of a difference graphics-wise for me to go, oh, this is worth it. There wasn't really too much of a difference frame rate-wise for me to go, oh, this is fine. Because I'm a big advocate for games running smoothly, but the Pro didn't do anything. It didn't do anything for me for me to think, like, you know what, this will be a reasonable purchase. And even for a person who's getting a PS5 for the very first time, I still don't see this as something that you should even consider. Get a regular one. $500, that is a $200 difference that can be devoted to extra stuff. But no, this is insane. But going back to the Emperor of Mankind, let me go ahead, and Microsoft is rumored to be making a handheld Xbox. Interesting. We'll see what Xbox does with their stuff. If they could stop laying off hundreds of people every other month, then maybe they'd be in higher standing. I'm sorry, but all gaming companies, all gaming aspects from Nintendo to Sony and Xbox are not exempt from my rants. If they could just stop laying people off, then maybe their position in the world will be a lot better than Sony's. But I'm just saying, Switch right now, Switch hasn't done, it's crazy. Switch hasn't done anything to make people go like, wow, Nintendo is stupid. Sure, Nintendo don't believe in having their games go on sale for longer than 2 days, but at least they're consistent with the stuff that they launch. At least they're not asking you to spend over $500 for a console. That remains to be seen. We have to see the Switch too, but at least Nintendo's still doing all right in terms of public eye. Sony and Xbox, Lord help them. Help them, Lord. But let me go ahead and get this voice ready. I want to make sure it's a good voice for me reading the Emperor of Mankind. So hold on. I got like a whole different headset for me listening to voices that I do. Hold on, let me see. This needs to be a good one.
All right. I shall now read the opening word for the Emperor of Mankind. How's that sound? Sound good? Let me know. Fun fact, the Emperor is slowly coming back to life because of the Great Rift, which is leaking warp energy that is fueling the Emperor. Oh, that's interesting. The very thing he's holding back is slowly... That's more of a demon, though? Okay, alright, gotcha. This specific voice on my software is called Odin, so... Let me just make one. Let me make a voice. Let's see... This is one I call All for One. I did a voiceover video concerning All for One with this voice. Let's see. Let me try this one. I want to do Let Us Speak of the Emperor of Mankind. This might be fun. Better? What about this one? Let us speak about the Omnissiah of the Emperor of Mankind. How's this sound? This sound better? I'm just listening to how it sounds in my ears to see if it's better. Much better, very primarch sounding? Well, good. That was the purpose, all right. I shall now read about the Emperor of Mankind. The Emperor protects. The Emperor of Mankind, often referred to by his faithful as the God Emperor, the Master of Mankind, or simply the Emperor, and who sometimes referred to himself as Revelation. Known to the forces of chaos as the False Emperor, or the Corpse Emperor, is the immortal Perpetual and Psyker who serves as the reigning monarch of the Imperium of Man. and is described by the Imperial Ecclesiarchy? By the Imperial Ecclesiarchy and the Imperial cult as the Father, Guardian, and God of humanity. The Chaos Gods and the Demons of the Warp refer to him as the Anathema? I want to say Anathema. Refer to him as the Anathema, for he is the greatest embodiment of universal order in the galaxy today, and the most potent foe of chaos in existence. He was, and remains, the most powerful human psyker to have ever been born. He has sat immobile, his body slowly crumbling, within the golden throne of Terra for over 10,000 standard years. Although once a living man, his shattered, decaying body can no longer support life, and it is kept intact only by the cybernetic mechanisms of the Golden Throne, and a potent mind itself sustained by the daily sacrifice of thousands of lives. The Emperor chose to sacrifice his immortal life at the end of the Horus heresy in the service and protection of mankind. Nintendo wins by doing nothing blatantly scummy. Exactly! That's how they win! That's why they keep winning! To humanity's countless trillions across the galaxy-spanning Imperium, he is nothing less than God. Through his Imperium, humanity is united and remains one of the most powerful intelligent species in the Milky Way galaxy, as well as its most dominant in terms of both population and territory held. United under one government, mankind is able to survive the myriad deadly threats it faces from aliens, the forces of chaos, and the traitors, heretics, and mutants that lie within the Imperium boundaries. The Imperium's rule, carried on in the Emperor's name since the end of the Horus heresy, by the High Lords of Terra, and a multitude of Imperial organizations, has been long oppressive and necessarily harsh. It has also resulted in technological and cultural stagnation, and a regression into tyranny, superstition, and religious obfuscation and intolerance. Sorry, those words got me. Oh, with the Golden Throne failing, they need to sacrifice more than 1,000 now. Oh, great! More lives lost! It has also resulted in technological and cultural stagnation, and a regression into tyranny, superstition, and religious obfuscation and intolerance that would have horrified the Emperor. The Emperor is such a powerful psyker, it's rumored he literally can bring back to life the Blood, Angel, Primarch, and others who have died by pulling their souls from the warp. Ooh. Though he is no longer responsive to external stimuli, the Emperor still lies at the very heart of the Imperium's continued existence. Although he cannot be directly involved in the day-to-day running of humanity's galactic government, his existence on the Golden Throne is vital to sustaining the Imperium, since his powerful mind's presence in the Immaterium maintains and directs the Astronomicon, the psychic beacon that makes possible faster-than-light warp travel, and is vital to Imperial shipping, transportation, commerce, and communication. However, the maintenance of this beacon requires the aid of other psykers, whose life forces are slowly drained away by the Emperor to power the beacon. 1,000 psykers a day give their lives to maintain the Emperor's psychic strength. He is said to still guide his race through the psychically reactive divination tool known as the Emperor's Turret, which select psykers can consult to gain a glimpse of the future and the Emperor's will. He is also said to constantly battle the Chaos Gods in the Warp and prevent their further intrusion upon the material world. His mind must remain vigilant at all times throughout the entire Imperium to safeguard the human race and to offer his protection to the faithful. Above all else, it is mankind's collective belief in the Emperor's divinity that serves as its greatest protection from chaos and the other hideous dangers that plague the galaxy. As the Imperial Creed has taught for over 10,000 standard years, the Emperor protects.
All right. Think my voice should be back to normal now? Yep, it's back to normal. Yeah, I just wanted to read that little excerpt there. Now, if I come back up here, how long is the Horus heresy? How long is this? There's a lot to this. Dark Age of Technology, Age of Strife, Unification Wars, Council of War, Great Crusade, Triumph of Ulanor, Seeds of Heresy sown, Lords of the Imperium, Corruption of the Space Marine Legions, Castigation of Kur, Pilgrimage of Logar, Primordial Truth, Fall of Horus, Istvan Massacres, Istvan Third Atrocity, Flight of the Einstein, Preparations and Allegations, Drop Site Massacre of Istvan 5. This must be it. 80 books worth of summaries. This is going to take me a while. At some point, I'll read through this. Not live, because it'll take me forever. It'll take me forever to read through this, and YouTube only has like a 11 hour and 59 minute stream limit, so I'm definitely not going to live stream this. Everything up to the Great Crusade is essentially prequel to the heresy. So, Great Crusade. Okay, so anything beneath it. So, Great Crusade onwards is pretty much the most important part then. All right, cool. I'll look into it and read it from time to time. Don't expect me to come back with a whole big bevy of Warhammer knowledge, though. But yeah. Okay. Well, I think I covered what I wanted to cover today. Just the main storyline, the main timeline of Warhammer 40k. Now, like I said, this isn't going to suddenly become a Warhammer 40k channel just because I'm reading into all this stuff. But it is interesting. It is interesting. So, all of you Warhammer 40k experts, thank you for being patient with a novice like me, who has absolutely no idea what to expect, save from the things that I've reacted to. Thank you for your patience, because some fandoms out there, and I'm not talking about y'all. Y'all are cool. Y'all have been cool with me. I haven't come across a single person that's like, you idiot, that's not what it means. It doesn't mean this, it doesn't mean that. I want to thank y'all for being so inviting to someone who's just literally an outsider. Who just recently got interested in reading up on this and learning about it. Thank you for being patient with me and making this such a welcoming, inviting community to, kind of dip my toe in just a little bit. So thank you for that, because not every fandom that is behind one certain IP or one certain subject are very welcoming to people who are trying to get into it for the first time. If you want more lore, I believe his name is Luton, does less funny but very accurate lore videos. There are people like that, but it's a very minor and vocal minority. Well, JW, Flyboy, DDF, who else? There were tons of other peoples that I want to acknowledge as well. Subject 35th. Let's see, Ratarat. Cool name, by the way. And Urwindo, all of you guys. Everyone who's shown up. Let me see. The Pabloid, Thrice Reckless. I want to acknowledge everyone. Everyone. Because I really do want to thank you for being patient with me. Because I'd be the same way if none of y'all were... Let's say, for instance, I would be the same way if someone was trying to get into One Piece for the very first time, or Jujutsu Kaisen for the very first time, but mainly One Piece, because One Piece is my baby. I mean, half of this channel wouldn't be what it is without One Piece. But I would want to, you know, make them feel welcome into getting into One Piece, especially if they were put off by the series having over 1,000 chapters and over 1,000 episodes. So I would want to be the same way for people who are getting into One Piece. So I just want to say thank you. Who else? I want to Ferrum TV as well. Yeah, Ferrum TV. And if I'm missing anyone's names, then I just want to go. Just wanted to say thank you for being patient and helping me learn and helping me understand with this. Let's see. Astartes Anonymous and More Lore are another underrated Warhammer 40k channels. Very informative, fun, and engaging videos they have. Honestly, the biggest lore gripe people have now is female custodes, but honestly, most people were okay. Another good source is Dreadanon, where you learn 40k through memes. Ah, interesting. And Volleyboy as well. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. But this is probably where I'm going to call it a session. How long have I been doing this? I want to say it's getting... Oh, it's been 2 hours. It's actually been 2 hours. Well, more or less. More or less is getting close to being 2 hours. But I covered what I wanted to cover for today concerning Warhammer 40k. Now, as soon as my buddy Gagio gets freed up, and I'll start doing a couple of videos doing the operations for Space Marine 2, because I haven't touched the game since I beat it yesterday, because I'm waiting on my friend Gagio to play along with me, because that's really what we've been looking forward to, and I don't know how far he's gotten as far as the operations are concerned, but he's a lot farther than me since he played during early access. But I'll definitely play a little bit more Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 for you guys, and I'll make some videos of it with me playing with him, and maybe I'll do some videos of me playing some PvP, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But if I don't do anything else Warhammer 40k related on the channel, and I need to make this very apparent, if I never do anything to Warhammer 40k related on this channel again after I'm done with Space Marine and looking through all this stuff, I mean, thank you. Thank you for watching. Even if you're just here from me reacting to Warhammer 40k stuff and you never look at anything else I do on this channel, thank you for just taking the time to watch this greenhorn of a novice into this series. Thank you for taking the time to just look at me react to this stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and get that knocked out, just in case I don't see you guys again. Thank you for your time. You didn't owe me any of this, but I do appreciate it. But I'm done. All I can say to you, everyone, as I prepare to get some lunch and continue to steal stuff from everybody in Skyrim is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!